The dark side of democracy. Are our rights an illusion? Remember to subscribe.
The dark side of democracy. Are our rights an illusion? We are told we are free. We are told we have rights. We are told we live in a democracy. But what if none of that is entirely true? What if the freedoms we think we have are limited? What if the rights we hold dear only exist when they're convenient for those in power? What if democracy, far from being power in the hands of the people, is carefully designed to give us just enough freedom to stop us from realizing how little control we actually have? Today we dive into the dark side of democracy. Not to destroy hope, but to uncover truth. Not to spread fear, but to sharpen awareness. Because understanding the illusion is the first step toward breaking it. The democratic dream versus reality. Let's start with the dream. Democracy, the great promise of modern civilization. A system where every citizen has a voice, where power is balanced, where rights are protected. But here's the contradiction. If democracy is working, why does it feel like it's not? Why are so many people disillusioned? Why are voter turnouts dropping in supposedly free societies? Why do millions feel unheard, unseen, unrepresented? Because what we've built is not a system of real power for the people. It's a system of controlled participation. You can vote, but only between options pre-approved by those in power. You can speak, but only if you don't challenge the economic status quo. You can protest, but only within the lines they've drawn. Democracy lets you choose the flavor of your chains, but not whether you wear them. This isn't freedom. It's containment. The illusion of political choice. Every few years we stand in line. We cast our vote. We hope, again, that something will change. But what really happens? The parties change. The faces change. But the core system, the deep structure, remains untouched. Corporations still influence legislation. Inequality still rises. Surveillance still grows. Wars are still funded. So ask yourself, do we really choose? Or do we just select from a narrow menu? Most modern democracies operate like two-headed monsters. Different rhetoric. Same donors. Same rules. Same results. If every election changes nothing, maybe the problem isn't who we vote for, but what we're voting within. We mistake movement for progress. But movement in a circle gets you nowhere. Are our rights just temporary permissions? We're taught that we have rights. Freedom of speech. Freedom of assembly. The right to privacy. The right to vote. But look closer. These rights exist only until they threaten those who hold real power. Speak up against injustice? You might be censored. Organize a protest? You could be arrested. Refuse to give up your data? You're locked out of platforms, services, and even jobs. If a right disappears the moment it's inconvenient, it was never a right, it was a privilege disguised as freedom. During emergencies, governments suspend rights with shocking speed. During unrest, police silence protests with military gear. During elections, media manipulates perception more than reality. And we're told, it's for your safety. But safety isn't freedom. It's a tool of compliance. True rights cannot be revoked. If they can be taken, they were never given, they were loaned. The rise of unelected power, corporate rule. While we argue over left and right, real power has moved somewhere else. To corporations. Today, tech giants know your every click, your habits, your weaknesses. They decide what you see, what you buy, what you believe. You didn't vote for Google. You didn't elect Amazon. Facebook wasn't on your ballot. But they rule your digital life more than any president. And they're not neutral. Their goal isn't truth or democracy. It's profit. Democracy now happens on platforms owned by billionaires, and that's not democracy. That's digital feudalism. We thought democracy meant self-rule. But how free are we when invisible systems shape our thoughts and profit from our behavior? Freedom versus social control. We're not chained anymore. We're not beaten into silence. Instead, we are conditioned, distracted, entertained, watched, controlled by comfort. We live in a time of soft control. Work more, question less. Consume more, think less. Post more, feel less. Obey more, fear less, until it's too late. We follow rules we never agreed to, in systems we never designed. The most effective form of control is the one that convinces you you're already free. You don't need a dictator when people police themselves. When democracy becomes a brand. The word democracy is sacred. It's repeated like a mantra. But has it become just another brand? Governments bomb in the name of democracy. Corporations exploit in the name of freedom. Leaders silence dissent while preaching liberty. But here's the truth. Democracy without truth equals propaganda. Democracy without economic equality equals injustice. Democracy without participation equals spectacle. If democracy is real, why do the powerful fear real participation? Because real democracy isn't easy to manage. It can't be bought. It can't be controlled. And that terrifies those who benefit from the illusion. So, are our rights an illusion? Let's go back to the question we started with. Are our rights an illusion? Yes, when they exist only on paper. Yes, when they are selectively enforced. Yes, when they protect the powerful more than the powerless. But illusions can be shattered. And truth can be reclaimed. Rights must not be begged for. They must be demanded, guarded, won over and over again. Democracy must not be a ritual. It must be a revolt. Conclusion: waking up is the first step. If you're still here, if you've watched this entire journey unfold, it means you feel something that many people around you have forgotten. The quiet discomfort that whispers that something is deeply wrong. Most won't admit it. Most push it down. Most distract themselves with the noise of everyday life. Scrolling endlessly, consuming thoughtlessly, living on autopilot. But you didn't. You stayed. You listened. You questioned. And that alone puts you ahead of millions. Seeing the illusion is the most dangerous act. There is nothing more dangerous in a controlled society than a person who begins to see the strings. Because once you see the strings, you start to wonder who is pulling them. You start to understand that freedom and rights may not be the unshakable truths you were taught, but carefully managed narratives meant to maintain stability, order, and above all, control. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most systems don't need your obedience. They only need your distraction. As long as you're entertained, as long as you're busy, as long as you believe the illusion is real, you will never ask the questions that shake the foundations. But you did ask. You are asking. And that is the beginning of change. Why awareness is a revolutionary force. Awareness is not passive. Awareness is not harmless. Awareness is the spark that has toppled empires, ended dictatorships, and reshaped the destiny of entire civilizations. Because once a person becomes aware, they can no longer be ruled in the same way. A citizen who sees the illusion is far more powerful than a citizen who blindly follows it. This is why the world conditions you to stay numb. Endless entertainment, perpetual noise, political drama as spectacle, algorithms tailored to pacify, news engineered to confuse, work that drains your energy, fear that clouds your judgment. All of it designed so that you never stop to ask, if democracy is real, why do I feel so powerless? And now that you're asking that question, you're already stepping outside the boundaries of the story you've been told. The system isn't broken. It works, just not for you. This is the hardest truth of all. People say, the system is broken. The system is failing. But is it? Or is it working exactly as those in power intended? A system where a tiny minority controls wealth, influence, and decision-making. A system where the majority is promised equality but given just enough to stay quiet. A system where rights exist, but only within the limits of what does not threaten the powerful. Does that sound broken? Or does it sound deliberate? And once you recognize that, something begins to shift inside you. Because then you realize, you were never meant to be truly free within this framework. Only free enough to believe you are. What happens when we wake up? When enough people begin to wake up, the illusion doesn't just crack, it shatters. History has proven this again and again. When workers realized their exploitation, movements were born. When citizens saw corruption, revolutions ignited. When communities reclaimed their voice, systems transformed. Nothing changed because the powerful wanted it to. Nothing changed because someone granted permission. Everything changed because people decided that illusions were no longer enough. And that is the moment institutions fear the most. When ordinary people stop accepting the version of reality they are handed. The future depends on what you do next. This video won't change the world, but you might. Not by overthrowing governments. Not by leading a revolution tomorrow. But by something far more subtle. Far more profound. Thinking differently. Seeing differently. Questioning what others accept. Every major transformation in history began with individuals who simply refused to keep playing along. And that's what makes this moment important. Because awareness spreads. It infects. It multiplies. One person wakes up another. A conversation sparks a realization. A realization becomes a movement. A movement becomes a new world. That is how change truly happens. Quietly at first, and then all at once. Final words, the awakening continues. If this video has stirred something inside you, don't let it fade. Talk about it. Reflect on it. Share it. Question everything you once took for granted. This journey is not about despair. It's about clarity. It's about reclaiming your mind from forces that profit from your confusion. You don't need permission to think. You don't need approval to see. You don't need illusions. When you finally have awareness. And remember, democracy isn't dying. It's being tested, challenged, bet, manipulated. But it can be rebuilt.
The dark
reclaimed,
side of democracy
by
are
people like
our
you.
rights and
This is not the
illusion.
end.
Remember
This
to
is the
subscribe.
beginning. We'll see you in the next video.